In this week's episode, we're going to take another Toytastic adventure, and we're going to take a look at a very awesome role-playing game. So stick around. Hi, and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. My name's Rob, and we're going to take a look at a couple interesting toys. I generally have a focus on vintage and toys I grew up with, but I think this falls into that category. Okay, one of my favorite things from the 80s was Miami Vice. Now, granted, as a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch it, so that instantly elevated it and put it on a pedestal because it was taboo for me. So, when I got older and the show finally came out on DVD, I consumed every episode and I loved it. After a hard day of work, there was nothing better than to be whisked away to the 80s in Miami. So, in 2006, a toy company called Mezco released Miami Vice figures. I had to buy them, and for the longest time I still had them sealed in their packages. But recently, I had some shelf space open up, and I said, what the hell? I'm never going to sell them, so why not crack them open and have them displayed with everybody else up on the shelf here behind the camera. So, first off, let's take a look at Ricardo Tubbs. These are nice, big, chunky figures. Here he is with his famous sawed-off double-barreled. It has great details like his pierced ear and something cool, the badge that they would always throw over when they were getting ready to make their bust. Has his nice designer shoes and finely dressed as he always was on the show. Now this briefcase, awesome. Okay, sit right there, Tubbs. Opens up and look what's in it. Money and I guess they didn't want to go white with it, but cocaine. Unless it's that... Didn't Ted Nugent's character make some colored drugs? I don't know. But how awesome is that? Got some money stacks and some drugs. All baggied up. And fits perfectly in here. Now before I jump into Sonny Crockett, I want to say these toys came with great accessories. And I have them in my accessories box that one day I'll go over on an episode of It Came From. Or at least start to, because it's pretty big. But they came with everything, like Sonny came with cigarettes. They came with other guns. Tubbs came with sunglasses. And Sonny Crockett here, I had to put the sunglasses on him because he always had them on. Now here we are, he has his famous Italian loafers here with no socks. Powder blue suit with a pink t-shirt, or Henley or whatever you want to call it. Has a 9mm. And let's pop these sunglasses off. That is sort of a good... Yeah, that's a pretty good Don Johnson. A little bit cartoony, but looks like him enough to me. Now, whereas Tubbs came with a briefcase full of money and drugs, Crockett came with his famous pet, Elvis. Came with the chain And he came with his favorite blanket. If you remember the show, that always was a part of humor. Now, I don't have Elvis displayed with him, so I was always thinking maybe I'll give him the Crocmaster to hang out with as some super mutated Cobra experiment. That would fit. But even this, very nice detail for just a typical alligator figure. Anyway, that was a very quick Toytastic adventure covering some action figures that I adore. Now we're going to take a look at a role-playing game book that I think is great. And of course this segment is called Saving Throws. And just as a quick explanation, a lot of the games in my collection are forgotten. So I see them as needing to be saved, needing to be remembered. So that's where the name came from, if you were curious. So anyway, here we go. Back in 1997, a company called Gold Rush Games made a Usagi Yojimbo role-playing game. Now, if you know me and some of my first attempts at it came from focused on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game. So for me, this was a no-brainer. I love Usagi Yojimbo and I love the comic book. Now, this was worked with Stan Sakai, and it used something called the Fusion system made by Gold Rush Games. Let's take a look inside real quick, shall we? As you can see, as soon as you crack it open, beautiful artwork from the comic book. And we have all different types of rules. We have horse warfare, and we have these great, which reminds me of like GURPS books back in the day, these great little side notes of different, well, from this, of what comic it came from and some quotes, to real history things on samurais, how samurais handled relationships. And this game had different classes, of course. We have priests and monks, ronin, peasants, outlaws, ninja. And then we get into skills. As you can see, more of that beautiful artwork from the comic book. Awesome skills. Peasant weapons, like how to use scythes and different pitchforks and things as weapons. Climbing. Here we go, the species. We got bats, bears, bulls, cats, dogs, foxes, moles. The mole ninjas were always awesome in the comic. Here's a picture of one. Pigs. Here's a, oh, I forget his name, but Zato Ino, which is their Zatoichi type character, a blind sword pig. Rabbits, rhinos, serpents. You got different jobs you can do. And then they have characters from the comics section, which is something I always love reading, where you get a nice Reader's Digest version of history of some of the characters. Lone Goat and Kid, always a favorite. And then here's different things about warriors and strategies. One of the great things about this game, too, when it came to sword fighting, oh, and here we go, a big appendix of real-life history and history from the Usagi comic, character indexes. Look at this. Dents of all the different characters that have appeared in the comic. But anyway, the combat, to keep it like a sword fight where you don't know what your opponent's going to do, they had cards. And unfortunately, they've been removed from the book long ago, and I remember photocopying them and attaching them to real playing cards to make them stiff. But you had different actions that you'll block, attack, different strikes and stuff, and you would put the card down and then flip it up. So it would be a very cinematic type of samurai fight, because you didn't know what the characters were doing, so you could flip it up and it would be a one-hit kill, or you both were blocking, which made it really fun. A few years after that came out, though, they put out this monster manual. This utilized the same fusion system, but also incorporated D20 rules, which back in, what year did this come out? 2000. Was the cat's meow. Me and my friends all played D20 books at that time. So this was a good companion to have for different monsters that you could bring into D&D or D20 Modern or whatever else I was running at the time. But one of the best things, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the Usagi Yojimbo comics not only were anthropomorphic animals, but they had anthropomorphic monsters and just typical, Japanese folklore creatures. So we have a lot of different ones in here that appeared in the comic. And appeared in real life folklore, or as I like to think, in real life. The Kappa, one of Japan's most famous creatures. I think almost everyone knows about the Kappa, but which was one of the very first Usagi comics I picked up. I think it was issue, I can't even venture a guess. 8 or 12, I can't even remember. Oni. The Tengu. But unfortunately, I wasn't playing the Usagi game, 3 years later when this came out, because all of my focus went into D20 D&D, or D20 Modern, or any of the other things. But this was a great book to have on hand, and it was next to all my D&D monster manuals at the time to grab any type of beastie out of. But that's yet another game that has disappeared with the sands of time, that I hope to just get the word out there that these games existed, they were awesome. If you can, track them down, super fun. I can't wait till my kids are older. I hope to expose them to gaming, and I'll actually have a gaming group again in-house where we could just kick back any afternoon and play. But anyway, this has been another episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. My name is Rob. Thanks for watching. Keep being rad, stay dorky. Peace out.